Ben Smith. I am a criminology and sociology student at Sheffield Hallam University, and I volunteered for a 10-week placement at St Anne's Bevin Court Homeless Hostel in Sheffield, which houses 64 men who are homeless for up to 6 months. It's a constant stigma around homeless men that they choose to do it themselves. They are just choosing to live this lifestyle. They can't. Why are they on drugs? Oh, there's no reason. It's just because they're homeless. It's the thing they do. They're just junkies and addicts, and this is the complete wrong opinion to have on these men, because working with them, they have had truly troubled pasts, and someone can be living a normal life with lots of money, and they can be living the life of just anyone, and it can all end at the click of a finger, and you can have nothing. You have to go to places like the hostel, you have to live on the streets for days. But then when you're constantly on the streets getting looked down at by people, and there's policy against you, they're putting in anti-homeless spikes and stuff like that in city centres, then there's not much you can do in terms of getting out of this black hole, because it's a vicious cycle that once you're getting labelled as homeless, you're a junkie and all this, you're just going to carry on in this situation. There's no way of getting out.
My name's Kevin Curtis. I'm the project manager at the Canaan Trust. There are a lot of problems, and many of the problems are caused by the system. I'll give you a couple of examples. We recently helped to house a mum and 5 children, and they'd been homeless for almost 7 months. And the reason for, or part of the reason for their being homeless for 7 months, is that the home option system was actually precluding them from getting a house. And where I mean by that is that most of the housing around here is 3-bedroom or less. There are very few 4-bedroom houses. So as soon as mum put on the computer system to say that single parent with 5 children, as soon as she entered 5 children and she was bidding on a 3-bedroom property, she would be thrown out because the computer would say overcrowding. So, you know, the proverbial kind of saying, the computer says no. And then the mum approached us, and then we would work with the mum to overcome those kind of system technical issues. We have the same with universal credit. I don't think there is a benefit system that's ever going to be perfect. The previous one wasn't perfect. The current one isn't perfect.
The problem with how the government's dealing with it is because they're not looking at what's happening now, including the drug problems, the mental health side of it, which is the worst, because most services that you see, their mental health services have been cut, and this is something I've seen. I was at the hostel a year ago, and now they don't have any mental health workers, which was the biggest influence on the men when I was there. They were the biggest help. So cutting stuff like mental health is the biggest problem, and this will only rise the homelessness around, and the government just don't seem to see that, because their whole aim is this ideal world where everybody has a house, but that can't happen unless you sort the current problem instead of what's going to happen in the future.
Canaan Trust has been going since 1995. It started not because somebody thought there was a need for a Christian homeless charity. What in fact happened was there was a young man in his early 20s called Kenny. He was sleeping rough out in the town, and that's what Kenny did in the autumn of 1995. He came into the centre of town and he took refuge in an industrial waste skip in the centre of town. He was an affable young man. There was no edges to Kenny. Unfortunately for Kenny, another group around the town realised that he was sleeping in this skip, and for whatever reason, whatever their motivation was, decided that one night while he was asleep in the skip, they would set fire to it. And that's what they did. Kenny didn't know, fire brigade were called, and it was only when the fire brigade arrived that they realised there was somebody in the skip. Kenny was very badly burnt and was rushed immediately to the special burns unit at hospital. His story broke in the media, and a Christian family who knew of Kenny The father was one of the local pastors. Basically, they ended up talking about Kenny and his plight and his situation over their tea table. And it was there that they discussed what it actually means to be a Christian. Is being a Christian just going to church on Sunday, saying our prayers, etc.? Important things, but they're not the core of being a Christian. And they recognise that being a Christian means reaching out and caring for those who are in need. It was then that a wider group of Christians in the area, hearing what this family had done, equally recognised that, as Christians, they should play a part in this, not leave it just to one family. That's part of our heritage.
Hi, I'm David G. I'm the chair of the trustees of the Canaan Trust. Yeah, so this is our sleep out for 2019. It's an annual event held on the first Friday after Easter, and its purpose is to just get the name of the Canaan Trust out into the local community, to let people know that we are here should they need us, and also obviously to raise vital funds to allow us to continue with our work.
I've come out because I think it's such an amazing cause. I was saying earlier that everyone is one paycheck away from being homeless. It could be me, it could be someone in my family, and I'd love to know that there were people out there that were trying to help and help me or my family member if they were in that situation.
So initially I was involved with the Canaan Trust as a resident in 2004, so I lived there for 6 months, and then the previous manager before Kevin got me a house, got me a flat, sorted out, and then in 2010 I became a staff member and helped them out with staffing of the hostel overnight, and then ever since then I've been actively involved with the Canaan Trust. Obviously my background, I've come from being homeless, I've had domestic violence, all kinds of different issues, which Kevin's also helped with that in life and helped me throughout, so yeah.
Yeah, my name's Michael Bishop, I'm 48 years old, resident here at the Canaan Trust. I was living with friends and they decided to start a family, and my friend's girlfriend asked me to leave, which was a good thing to do, a polite thing to do. So I found myself homeless. That's from August 2018 until the 23rd of January this year. Kept getting told that my benefits might be affected and stopped because I was no fixed abode, so I didn't have an address. So even sleeping on the streets was not a very nice thing. There can be some horrible people out there that can, especially when they've had a drink inside them, might take to give you abuse and everything else when you're on the streets. So I found myself not being in town centres. I got myself a tent and put myself out in the countryside where I felt a lot safer. Oh, they've helped me a great deal. I mean, I moved in here with a rucksack with my belongings in, just some basic clothes and some paperwork. No bank account or anything. I was having my benefits at the time was being paid into a friend's bank account. So every fortnight it was like a 15-mile round journey from here all the way to like IKEA, where I'd go from friend to friend work, so I'd go meet him at 8 o'clock in the morning to get paid. So the first thing Canaan done for me within 10 days is opened up a bank account for me nationwide. Got all my benefits put back in place. Started getting my money in regular, started laundry facilities, started cooking again. I was only here 5 weeks in this building, and Canaan Trust have also got another property on Cranmer Street. It's there's three people that share a house there, and that's part of the move on stage. You start off here, get yourself sorted out here, then you can move on to there, and then from there it's your own flat.